time it is.
All my squareheads, I am back. Thank you for checking out the C Squared Hour. I, of course, am your host, Chris, coming to you from an updated studio. I don't know if you can hear the difference, but who am I feeling it? So before I get too far into this, just want to let you know I'm drinking No Lie today out of Spokane. They're the biggest brewery in Spokane, so they ain't gonna fuck with me yet. So I'm not gonna go too far into it until I think I'm at a place where they would be willing to even consider hooking me up with free beer. So, No Lie, good stuff. Back at it. So I hope you all didn't miss me for Christ. Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks. That's not that bad. So, yeah, a lot of shit's gone on. Again, I was waiting to see kind of what happened with some things and update my studio and all that. And, what I should do is, like any good media person, I'll just ghost you. Yeah, won't even, I'll just retweet my stupid tweets about the fight this weekend, and I will, just ghost you and hope you guys stick with me. So, boy, am I a dumbass. Now, you might be asking yourself, where is the other Chris? Considering I haven't recorded anything since the college basketball national championship game, it's odd that he's still out there doing that, because that was a couple weeks ago. Us being in Spokane, Washington, he is very annoyed at Gonzaga fan for honestly not acting passionate enough after the loss. I'm going to have to level with you guys. I think he's just doing this for me. I think we weren't able to hang out on my birthday this year. 2 years ago, saw Stormy Daniels at the comedy club. Fantastic. And this year he couldn't do anything, but he knows how upset I've been with Gonzaga fan and not being passionate enough and not really trying to better themselves or be a real team or all that. So he's out there, and again, I do appreciate it. He still, for the last 2 weeks, has been trying to get Gonzaga students, and granted, with the COVID thing, it's a little harder to get them all in the same group, if you know what I mean. But he's been out there trying to get them to at least have a march. If not lighting buildings on fire, just some sort of thing that could be described as a riot. Because this was supposed to be their year, and they got absolutely handled in the championship game, which I'll get to here pretty quickly. So, Chris, really, really being a good friend, is trying to get something started. If not for this year, he's hoping that it really lights a fire. So, the next time they're the best team in the world and they lose way too early, then it's set. It's ready to go. So I do appreciate that, but yeah, he's out there trying to start some stuff up even 2 weeks later, and I appreciate that. Since the last time I've spoken to my squareheads out there, we got to see WrestleMania with fans in Tampa. I'm not going to go too far into it. I know a lot of my squareheads aren't wrestling people, but I'm going to say here, WWE, stop with Bianca Belair. She's annoying. That's all. You're pushing her hard. I get it. College athlete, what have you. She's annoying. Let's just stop, all right? There's my quick WrestleMania analysis. Now, let me get to what a lot of Spokane people have been talking about, and still, actually, not enough of them are still talking about it, which is another thing that annoys me. But now that they signed the top recruit in the U.S., or in this year's recruiting class, who is a 7'1", probably weighs about $130. So we'll see how that goes. But number one, signed to GU, so this must be their year again. But yeah, they are supposed to be the greatest team in the world, and they got handled by Baylor in the national championship game. It wasn't close. It was never in doubt. And look, I've been called every sort of name in the book, just not buying into the Gonzaga thing, even though I want them to win. I am more than cautiously optimistic on them. In fact, I would more say I am cautiously pessimistic on them, if that makes any sense. I don't see it, and I don't think, especially after watching Baylor, and especially watching what UCLA was able to do to them. Yes, UCLA made it to the Final Four, but they didn't have the talent that they should have, but they were still able to handle Gonzaga pretty well. And Baylor just walked through them. GU fan, I will stake my entire reputation on the fact that while you play in the WCC, you have no chance, absolutely no chance, of winning a national championship. That's the thing that bugs me about GU fan. Like, oh, they're a mid-conference. It's so great what they're doing is this. And then we're supposed to forget that once the tournament comes around and say, oh, they're the best team in the nation. Well, pick one. Are you a small school that's bucking the odds? Or are you the best team in the world, can go up against the fucking 85 Lakers? You can't have it both ways, GU fan. So, again, you're not gonna win shit playing in the WCC. It's just never going to fucking happen. You spend your entire season out muscling, just out all these mid-major teams, just out muscling them. Just, you can't impose your will on Power 5 teams like that. They may not they may not get the number one recruit like you do, but they're recruiting people just as physical, if not more physical than you're able to recruit or that you are recruiting. So if you spend an entire year like, oh, winning by 30, out muscling Pepperdine, well, yeah, but you're not going to out muscle Pac-12 teams, Big Ten teams. You're not going to be able to out muscle them because they're getting just as physical players. GU fan, you're not going to do shit until you leave the WCC. I don't know how you have to do it. It's going to cost money. It's going to whatever. So pick an athletic department. Either you leave the WCC to be able to play, whether it's joining another conference or it's going independent. You either gotta be picking between that or enjoy winning every game in December by 30 and losing come March. No matter what people say, I don't necessarily like rooting against GU. I don't even rooting against them or saying the shit or having to talk about the fact that they are underachieving every year because their conference sucks. I don't like doing it, but I have to. So, sorry, GU fan. Better luck next year. There is going to be a pretty common theme for this episode. And it seemed interesting how quickly the green and yellow confetti fell after the national championship game. Could the fix have been in? I don't know. It was right after the game. It seems like you would, give it a second to make sure you're on the right switch or whatever. But no, fix was probably in. And I would also like to congratulate every child in Sierra Leone who now has a Gonzaga National Championship shirt. Enjoy it. Yeah, that's all I got on that. But yeah, the fix seemed to be in, and that's going to be a theme here. Speaking of basketball, Draymond Green is my new favorite player in the NBA. Second favorite. I think I'm a Lillard guy, no matter what. But he came out. Women's sports aren't... The gist of what he said is women's sports are never going to get close to the same amount of money if all they worry about is the money. You need to figure out how to market your sport. If you put the same amount of effort into that as you do whining about how much money you make, then you have a chance. Thank you, sir. I've been fucking... You're 100% right. Women's sports, you're never going to get equal pay. In fact, the majority of women's sports actually make more money percentage-wise than the revenue they bring in based on men. So if you look at that, you are getting overpaid? Sorry, hon, but he's 100% right. Figure out how to market your sport better. You're never going to make the same amount of money saying, hey, look, we're basketball too. We know you're playing the same sport, but you're not playing the same game. All right, so you can't try to market it as the same thing. I will give women's soccer a pass, and I think I've said this before, because I can name more women's national team soccer players than I can men's, but again, I'm not a soccer fan. Draymond Green, obviously, the feminists are pissed off at him. Everything's going on with that. They're trying to cancel him or whatever the fuck they do with that. 100% right. Sweetheart, figure out how to grow your game and the money will grow with it. Stop looking at the money. I would be willing to bet that the WNBA, and I'm only talking basketball because that's what it seemed he was talking about. We're talking about an NBA player. I wonder, I'm going to have to look into this. Are they still in the red? Are they turning a profit? Are they steadily growing? Are they doing any of that? If they are, good for them. If they're not, you got bigger fish to fry than how much you're getting paid. You might need to worry about saving your goddamn league. I hope all my squareheads notice I'm feeling a little more professional now. I got a new desk. It's the right height. It's not a fucking card table. It's actually steady. Whew, you guys have no idea what you're missing. But yeah, all the broads that are upset about it, he's right. He may be a tool. He may seem like he is a moron. But he's right on that. Which is probably why he said it. You can't be smart and say something like that. Even if you're asked about it, no matter how right you are, you can't fucking say it. You just fucking can't. These days, and thank God for idiots. All right, I don't know how smart the guy is. I don't know. Whatever. Just thank God for people who don't understand it, because you still get shit said like this. But he's right. He's right. Let's take a look at probably the most popular female sport in this country. That was an odd pause, and I might get in trouble for that one. Female tennis is probably the most popular They don't market themselves as the same as men's tennis. They market themselves as an entire different entity. If you do that, you have a chance of growing. Ladies, Mr. Green is right. Market your sport better. And I say sport, not your league, because it is a separate sport. Market your sport better and then start worrying about the money. One thing you could try, the fucking Aussie Rules Football League. they're tricky fuckers, because what they do is they have all the women's teams named the exact same thing. So you go, I'm going through my Australian whatever it's called to watch Aussie Rules Football, and like, oh look, here's a team playing. I didn't know they were playing today. And you flip it on, it's the women's team. Because the Gold Coast Suns are the name of the men's and women's team. So they're tricking you into watching it. There's a star WNBA. The Seattle Storm. Well, Seattle doesn't really work because the LA whatevers. Yeah, just call yourself the Lakers. I mean, shit, the NBA still owns the WNBA, right? There's not going to be an issue with that. Just call yourself the fucking Lakers. And then people accidentally tune in. Americans are fat and lazy, as everyone else says. So they'll just watch it, and eventually that'll work. The Phoenix whatever's, call yourself the Suns. The Dallas Dollies or whatever. Call yourself the Mavericks. That's how you got to do it. AFL figured it out for you. But you got Draymond's right. Draymond is right. Don't get mad at him. Get mad at yourself for not thinking about it first. If we go a little bit deeper into the NFL, one thing I wanted to talk about, and I mean, this kind of piggybacks off what I just said. Maybe not 100%, but it goes along with it. Deshaun Watson is getting sued by 22 women? And potentially faces criminal charges. I'm not sure. The NFL Illuminati got him again. They got him. As my hat hit. See, I'm doing so much better not touching the microphone shit, and then my hat hits the fucking thing. For fuck's sakes. The NFL Illuminati got him. They own a day of the week. You think you start talking about wanting to get traded and wanting to get paid more money, and you start making yourself, and they're not going to get you? I am hard pressed to figure out, or I'm hard pressed to believe that the NFL isn't behind some of this shit. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Who am I to say? But I wouldn't be shocked if it came out that said Roger Goodell pushed these gals to finally come forward. Or, can't say this with all the Me Too stuff, but maybe it's all fake because the NFL doesn't like him trying to be bigger than the brand, bigger than the team. So they're like, you know what, buddy? You're going to act like this? We gave you a chance to shut up. Here are the brats. They did it to Antonio Brown. That's what happened to Antonio Brown. It's just interesting that the only time you're really hearing about these big issues is when it's people who are trying to make more money and being, not necessarily making more money, but being a distraction to the league. I mean, Dak Prescott's trying to make more money, but he's not being an asshole about it. He's saying, he's doing it the quote unquote right way. Look at how quickly Russell Wilson was trying to do this whole fucking thing too. He shut up real quick once the Watson stuff came out. He shut up real quick. So if we're looking at this, he might know something. The NFL don't fuck around. I would be hard pressed. That's not the right term. I would not be surprised at all if the NFL owners or Goodell had something to do with these broads coming forward. Because I'm not famous enough yet, I'm not going to go completely out on the limb and say, hey, maybe all these gashes are lying because the NFL is paying them off. Not famous enough yet. But, what's funny is I'm also not famous enough to get in trouble for saying that. Who do we got to catch 22 here? I got to figure out which is more. I mean, obviously, if I ever get Saturday Night Live, Sex Pest Seth is going to come back and look at all this like, oh, he said this about women. We gotta get him off Saturday Night Live. Look up Sex Pest Seth. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, Deshaun Watson. Should have kept your mouth shut, bro. The NFL got ya. The one thing I think Me Too really did help, that whole thing, usually it was about a bi-yearly thing where I'd hear somewhere in the state some guy whipping it out to a coffee stand girl. Now, there's two potential reasons that doesn't happen as much anymore. One is because, people are starting to, understand. Even creeps are starting to understand, what that really could do to a woman's psyche and what have you. I mean, honestly, some of you broads got to take that as a compliment, right? He ain't whipping it out to somebody he's not, thinking about. So some of you might be taking it that way. Not saying you should or shouldn't. Who am I to judge? But let's be honest, not every broad is horrified by it. The other thing that might be causing the reduction of this, titty coffee stands, lingerie coffee stands. If those greaseballs who pick the coffee stand based on the hot chick just have a place to go where it's like, hey, we're wearing lingerie, we're wearing swimsuits, come get it. If maybe that stopped it all. And if that's the case, I want to thank every one of you titty coffee gals for helping those young women at other coffee stands not have to see random dongs too much. How did I get there? Oh, Deshaun Watson. Anyway, apologize for saying this, but I think the NFL has more to do with the Watson thing than any of his actions did. NFL Illuminati. Again, they own a day of the week. Why could we not think this would happen? I mean, Christ, you let Ray Lewis, one of your poster boys, get away with murder. You don't think... allegedly get away with murder. You don't think that you can't push a few broads to come forward and say, gotta wake up, people. I told you, this episode's gonna have a lot of conspiracies and a lot of fixes. Son of a bitch. Trying to get a fucking beer off, and those new six-pack things, god damn, they're annoying. You're just as much plastic, if not more. But ducks aren't going to die in it? I don't fucking know. You six pack. Let's go back to the old school ones, people. Come on. What's worse for the environment? Processing more plastic? Or a couple ducks getting their beak stuck on, or fish getting stuck in plastic things in the ocean? The plastic rings. All right. The big news, the real reason I made sure to come back, because I'm still waiting for Biden to do something worth talking about. I was going to, after the last episode, I'm like, you know what? We did absolutely nothing except do a power hour, talk about random shit, and talk about stuff that the listeners couldn't hear. So I really wanted to make this a hard hitting, but there's nothing fucking going on. Again, the best thing I got from WrestleMania is the women's champion annoys me. So, but after this weekend, there's absolutely no way I could put off doing another episode. Absolutely no way. Triller Fight Night. One of the Pauls versus Ben Askren. Who was that an event? Jesus Christ. I am so glad I didn't pay for that. I have a friend who works in the business or something who was able to get it to me for free, who worked for the marketing company. I don't know. Didn't have to pay for it. But what the fuck was that? Holy shit. It was a 2-hour concert, 3-hour concert, with 6 rounds of fighting mixed in the middle of it. You have the start, Steve Urkel and Snoop Dogg basically talking about Steve Urkel's new weed. I was just fucking lost. You have 2 random people do concerts. The Black Keys opened it, which it's going to make me sound like an old curmudgeon. But yeah, the Black Keys did a 30-minute, set beforehand, which I can understand. Like, hey, we're going to open the show with 30 minutes of a band or an artist or what have you, and then we're going to get to the fight stuff. That makes sense. But to call it Fight Night and have more concert than fight, it was nutty, to say the least. I mean, Christ, you know it's bad when Mario Lopez is giving it credibility. Mario Lopez said he's basically the reason it wasn't a complete and utter joke because of Mario Lopez. You had Pete Davidson walking around going backstage just treating it like it was just a fucking joke, just a fucking nonsense thing, just walk around making fun of people, making fun of the goddamn event, because that's what it was. It was a goddamn joke. And not the kind of joke where it's like, hey, we're all having fun, we're all in on it. No, you're laughing. We were laughing at you, not with you. Triller, stop. Or keep doing it. You did the Tyson fight. You did this fight. Do the joke fights. But stop there. Do your dumbass concerts and your dumbass joke fights and stop trying to be a real fucking thing. Or if you're going to try to be a real fucking thing, show some decency. Show some... I get, you have Snoop there, you have Pete Davidson there, you have all these jokes and all these things going on, which is fine. But once your main event starts, or once the fight starts, I don't want to hear three people who are commentators spend the whole fight talking about how stoned they are, or how fun it is that they get a drink while they do this. They don't usually get to do that. If you're trying to be a real fight thing, talk about the fucking fight while it's going on. Talk about the fight. All that other nonsense in the middle when you're in between the new broad rapper and the old broad rapper and whatever, and the the rap super group that just came out. What was it Mount Westmore? Ice Cube, Too Short, Snoop Dogg, I forget who else. E4, yep, E40. I'm E4. Oh, yeah, Mount Westmore. That's when you do all the stupid jokes. That's when you do that. I mean, Christ, it's upsetting that the best fight of the night was the slap fight. It was absolutely hilarious that Pete Davidson, within 5 minutes, realized that this was going to be a fucking mess, and he just went with it. He just played along with it. Pete Davidson kind of annoys me. Everything I've seen him do has been funny, but he just seems kind of like a douche. But, again, everything he does is funny, but the fact that he called it for what it is while it was going on, just fantastic. But yeah, the slap fight was the best fight of the whole fucking thing. That's when you joke about how stoned you are as a commentator or contact highs. Don't do it in the middle of a fucking fight. Poor Regis Prograis, but a real boxer. I believe belt holder, if not recent belt holder, a guy climbing the ladder in the ranks, fighting on this card. He had to step in. He had to do a real fucking. He was going for a real fight while all this nonsense is going on. Prograis deserves better than that. He's a real goddamn fighter. But let's talk about it. Before I go too further, I gotta say, Ben Askren obviously took a dive. May not have taken a dive, but he didn't beat the 10, or he couldn't continue on purpose. My personal opinion, I don't care if you're a professional fighter I don't care what it is, one punch shouldn't get you out of the fight. It may knock you down. It may stagger you. There's no reason a fight should end on that if you are any sort of professional fighter. Or maybe the fix was in. I don't know. But you look at the Prograis fight, and again, he deserves so much better than that fucking event. A real fighter in a fucking a playground version of a boxing ring. Really, it was what? Not half the size, a quarter of the size of a regular ring. He deserved better than that. Where your lead up is Mount Westmore and a slap fight. And during your fight, drunk Oscar De La Hoya. Can we just say the only thing that saved that event was drunk/high Oscar De La Hoya. I think he was 2 puffs and a shot away from throwing back on the lingerie and the boxing gloves. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But Christ almighty, he was a fucking mess. Talk about how he wants to come back because Tyson... Dude, whatever. Oh, nope, it was the other fight that he was out there for. I forget, but another... Oh, it's the guy who's fighting Frank Mir. But, again, another real fighter on this, but it wasn't a real fight. You could tell it was just a fucking joke around thing. But, yeah, drunk De La Hoya is the best. We already know he's nutty from those pictures that went around, the lingerie pictures. We already know he's nutty, but you throw a few drinks down him, whew, that was worth, that would have, if I paid the $50 for the fight, that almost would have made me feel like it was worth it. Drunk De La Hoya was the man. But yeah, Askren died. And then the Progray, what is it? Redbach, Red Catch, whatever. He obviously took a dive too. He had to have, right? First of all, he couldn't decide. He's on the ground and he can't decide what part of him hurt, forgetting that there's fucking cameras in replay. And you realize the forearm barely grazed the side of him, and he went down, and first he's holding his side, then his leg, then his nuts. Progray, I forget who he just fought, but he beat a real fucking name, and I believe it was either on ESPN or it was on Showtime, but he deserves way better than that. And then, come to find out, during that fight, Teofimo Lopez signed on with these jackasses for his next fight, or whatever, or what is it, coming up in June or some shit like that. Teofimo Lopez, this is the same Lopez that just beat the unbeatable Lomachenko. And he's fighting on this dumbass promotion. Lopez, I hope you looked at social media, because I'm not the only one saying this. I hope you looked at social media. Get the fuck out of that contract. I don't care what has to happen. Get that fight on ESPN. Get it on Fox. Get it on Showtime. Get it anywhere else. I don't care how much money they paid you. I don't care how much it would cost you to get out of that contract. I don't see any coming back from having to fight on that sort of thing. Unless they clean it up for their real fights. Unless this was just supposed to be, hey, Jake Paul, let's have a fuck around night. And for when they're trying to do real fights, they clean it up and they make it a real thing. And yeah, still have fun. Still have the commentators, having beverages during it. And, still mention that, Snoop Dogg's wandering around stoned, but make it a real thing. If you're going to do that, okay. But if not, Lopez, get the fuck out. You are at minimum a top 5 pound for pound guy because of that beatdown of Lomachenko. Get the fuck out. Again, if it's going to cost you money up front, I will chip in. If you talk about doing it, if you hit me up on my social medias, the C Squared Hour, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll start a GoFundMe. I will make sure you can get out of that contract to go fight on a real promotion. But dude, make sure they fucking fix shit if you're going to fight there. Make sure of it. And the problem is he's fucking Teofimo Lopez, where if you are a semi-casual boxing fan, you know the name, but beyond that, he hasn't really crossed over to mainstream yet. It's not like Canelo Alvarez, where if he watched that and said, you know what, fuck you guys, and he could, but Lopez isn't there yet in his career. So, buddy, you need to get out, or make them change how they do it. I got at least $20 to help you get out of that contract. Also, if you want out, I'll start a GoFundMe for it. But dude, it ain't worth it. Christ, that was a goddamn mess. All right, before I let you go, there's one more story that came out of Spokane. In fact, I saw it today. And during his attempts at riot starting. I'm the riot starter. During his attempts at that, we were, texting back and forth. There was a doctor out of Spokane, Washington, hitting the map again, folks. Yeah. I don't know how far this has gone, but this is a story. So this doctor, I don't know if he's a doctor, if he's a dentist or a cardiologist or a doctor of journalism or whatever the fuck he is. He went on the dark web, and his estranged wife, who has started divorce proceedings, he was looking for someone to kidnap her for 5 to 7 days, get her addicted to heroin, and convince her to drop all the proceedings and go back to him so he could take care of her. I make up a lot of stupid shit. This is something I don't think I would ever think of. Kidnap her, get her hooked on heroin, talk her out of that, and send her back to him so he could take care of her in her addiction. That was the end of it. He wanted the kidnapper to send her back to him so he could take care of her while she's addicted to heroin because she got addicted during this week of kidnapping. Fucking doctor. So that's a doctor thing. Fucking Spokane. We just had last week in Spokane Valley, there was a teacher who got busted for selling child porn on TikTok. Allegedly. He got arrested for it. Just like cop says, innocent until proven guilty, one happy. So we just had that happen, and now we have this fucking kidnap. God damn, I love the news. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to be pretty unpopular, and that's why I saved it till the end of this episode, because if I know anything about podcasts is the casual listener isn't going to make it all the way through. And the only people who are going to make it all the way through are the people who understand you, understand what you're going to say, understand it. So that's why I say this for the end, even though it is a opening story on any fucking newscast, any fucking news podcast. This should be the number one headline in the paper tomorrow. Unless it was today, I don't get the fucking paper. As far as nutty, controlling abuse stories go, this one seems semi on the pleasant side. Honestly, if you break down what the guy was going to do, what the guy was asking, basically it's all about how you word it. You say kidnap. I was saying he's giving his estranged wife a week-long vacation and free drugs. To top it off, he knows the drugs are going to be a problem, being a doctor and all, so he's willing to take care of her afterwards. Christ, in certain movies, this would be the best love story in the fucking world. I understand where the problem is. I understand where we're coming from, but people, let's not be so quick to judge. Let's hear both sides of the story. The first thing I thought is, what the fuck did this bitch do? And you read between the lines for what he was saying on the dark web, and obviously she stepped out, destroyed 2 families. So obviously she was banging another married guy. Whatever. That's what I gleaned from it. That's what I took from it. But Christ, for a kidnapping story, for an estranged wife story, I'm telling you, you take out a few words, and it's fucking romance. It's romance. What he did, kidnap, get addicted to heroin, send it back to me. What he's doing is, you could word it saying, hey, he sent her on a week vacation. No, she's a workaholic, so he's making sure she goes on that vacation. And you know what? He's going to pick up the tab for... He's going to pick up her bar tab, regardless of what it is. And when she gets back, he's going to nurse her back to health. He's going to nurse her hangover. And hopefully that reminds her of what she's missing. That may not sound like the best thing in the world, what I just said. But it sounds kind of sweet, doesn't it? But no, the news has to say, and this is my opinion coming from the feminist side of things, this is where you got it wrong. There's kidnapping and get her addicted to heroin and send her back. Look, two sides of the coin. You say tomato, I say let's not be so quick to judge the guy. There's a lot of abuse out there and there's a lot of shitty situations. This seems, while the wording of it is really scary, this seems on the lighter side of things, in my opinion. Rather than immediately demonizing this guy and calling him, let's throw a case study on this guy. He has something going on worth studying, worth figuring out. I hate to say it, but when I first read the story, from what I got out of it, this bitch stepped out on him and banged a married guy, or woman, don't know. And dude just loves her. Just loves her, and he's willing to do anything to keep her. And by God, in today's day and age, where relationships and marriages seem like they can just get thrown away for no goddamn reason, the fact that he's willing to step out like this, regardless of if you agree with his methods or not, regardless of that, dude wants to save his marriage. Really what this is saying? There's a goddamn fine line between true love and abuse, am I right? Am I right, squareheads? You can see why I saved that till the end. Alright, we're coming to the end of it. That's all I got. Again, being off for 2 weeks, I wanted to make sure I got all the information I wanted to get in, so I didn't go too deep into everything. Before I get going, again, drinking No Lie, Northern Lights out of Spokane. They're the biggest one in Spokane. Obviously, they're too big to fuck with me yet, so I'm not going to go too far into it. Unless they decide to, then I'm going to talk about how great Big Juicy IPA is that I'm drinking right now. Alright, we go any further, hit me up on email. Hit me up on email. Was that the fucking worst 60-year-old way to say it? Hit me up. You know the email. You know the Twitter. You know the Instagram. You know the Facebook. Looking into starting a merch store. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's enough of you out there. Always, let me know if you're listening. Let me know of a beer I should try. If you want, you can send me the fucking beer. I don't mind free beer. In fact, that's the only reason I started this fucking show. Alright, I'm done with all that. So, as always, I want to thank all my squareheads for checking this out. Thank you for putting up with me. Be on the lookout. And hey, help Chris out with starting the riot, eh? And since there's nothing else, I will see you all next time.